breaking down the teams you're passionate about. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, folks, let's get it. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard with you on a Tuesday. We got some friends on tap. We bring out the big guns on a Tuesday. Bill Armstrong, general manager of the Utah Mammoths, going to join us straight up at 2 o'clock. We will also have a chance to catch up with Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com at 1:05. And we're going to chat with our guy, Tim LaComb, here in just a moment as well. Get his thoughts as the Jazz wrapping up the regular season. They had locker room clean out yesterday. We'll still continue to touch base on a couple of those elements. That was certainly really fascinating to see some of the headlines and some of the storylines coming out of that. So, again, busy show. We'll get to it. Plus, we've got another Mammoth game coming up tonight. And then another one, and then the regular season is done. And we get ready for a little playoff hockey. Nothing better than a little playoff hockey. Playoffs back in Salt Lake City. All right, let's kick things off. Time for your starting lineup, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, starting lineup brought to you by Mountain Supply, where the pros go. Look, if water runs through it, you got it covered. Mountain Supply. Outside irrigation, inside plumbing, anything in between, they got you squared away. Go to mountainland.com and find a location near you. Joining us now, he is your co-host of your Jazz pre, half, and post-game shows with a little extra time on his hands, at least for now. He is Tim LaComb joining us now. Timmy, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you? And how is our leader Lloyd in the big office?
Lloyd is normal, joyful, happy self.
I find that hard to believe.
I would agree with you on that. That was sarcasm.
The sniper. I call him the sniper now.
Ooh, I like that. When you were taking a class with him up at the University of Utah, was he a front row guy? Was he kind of a Spicoli, sit in the back and just try to, order a pizza in the middle of class, like that kind of guy? Or what was Lloyd Cole, the student, like?
No, I'm going to tell you, I think I radared in early on Lloyd because I felt like he was a guy that could possibly take some of the load off the class for me because very attentive. I wouldn't say front row guy, but probably 3-4 rows back. Toward the front. Had some quips back then that got me, and you don't see the dude crack a smile a whole lot.
No.
But you can get him every now and again.
Yeah.
But we had some fun up there, man, and it was a group class, a group project. So my suspicion paid off. I did lean on him heavily in that class, which is why I think he holds a grudge.
I have a lot of gear from the 96-97 Utah State football team because, let's just say, I assisted with some papers, and I was rewarded with gear. So
you just helped, get the margin straight.
Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah, yep.
Footnotes, all that gibberish.
Exactly. All right, hey, so the Jazz cleaned out the locker rooms. The season's over, and now it's time to decompress. And you heard and from a coaching standpoint, when the season comes to an end, you heard Will Hardy say, look, there's a couple things we need to do. And he prioritized decompressing, even for himself as a coach. How hard is it as a coach to shut things down after a season and just take a deep breath and like, okay, long year, let's just settle down, calm down, get our nerves. Let's not say anything stupid on our way out. Let's just let it get behind us and then move on.
It is very difficult, and there's so many difficult aspects to it because, a college season is only 30, 35 games, 36 games if you're really good. These guys are playing 82 games. So with that, and you know the dynamics of this, you get on the bus with the same dudes every day. You say hi to the same people 5 times a day because you go from meeting to room to shoot around to breakfast, to the late meal, the pregame meal. And so it just becomes this routine of very, very, you kind of know what to expect and who to expect it from. And over time, there's some guys that get on your nerves and you're like, man, I need some time away. But as a coach, it's very difficult once you're done to give yourself the grace and the time to actually breathe, because your mind goes directly to, the next challenge and what's next. And so you have to fight that, because you're only going to be as good as you have the strength to be. And I think there's also something great about getting away from it, because you've looked at it straight for, I think about this. I go up there every single game and sit up in that booth and watch the game, and I'm just watching it, but they're prepping for it. They're taking all those steps, and then they're, after the game, you're handling all the media responsibilities, and then, you got a game in 2 days, so you're going to look at TV some more. And so getting out of that habit, getting out of that pattern is important. It's hard to do. It's hard to untether, because I'm sure in Will's mind right now, he's drawing up sets for the 5 guys he's going to have out on the floor, and it's pretty exciting to him. So it's not all stuff that you want to get away from, but I do think it's healthy to get away.
So being around the team like you have been this year, and if you ever get to a game early, if they'll ever let you sneak into a game before the game starts, maybe before the general public gets in, go to the lower bowl, and you're going to look across, and you're going to see a guy sitting around the 10th, 12th row, incognito, maybe wearing a beanie, and just watching everything. That's usually Timmy. Doesn't bring a lot of attention to himself, but he's watching everything. So when you are around this team and you see the vibe, does it feel like there's a different vibe at the end of this year than there was last year?
Yeah, for sure. And I want to say, I think last year's team, they did their best, and those veterans were in a weird spot when you think about Clarkson and Collins, because they were on the back end, and they were trying to go out and figure out how to be good and continue to grow and perhaps win. And this organization was just in a different phase. So there was some incongruence there that, everybody got along. But I think sometimes you get along on the surface, you know what I mean? And you don't dig that far in. I look at this year's team, and to me, it started with Keontae and his transition from, and I'm not even talking about a player, but just his growth and maturity. He had some immaturity to him his first year, and it was stuff that the staff talked about with him through the year and into the summer. And I think, of all the things that dude took to heart, that's probably the biggest, because he had that ability in there. I mean, all these skills were in there, but he almost had to submit to just let you guys coach me. I'm not going to look at you funny when you coach me. I'm not going to stand and quarrel with a teammate over a pass that he didn't catch, and all those little things that then he's not worried about that stuff. And so I think it was huge. So at the end of this year, I think what you have tons of growth on the floor. I think you have tons of growth in the locker room, and I'm talking about personnel with the trade. This team is really dynamic, and one of the things Will can do with it is go big. He can go small. He can go aggressive. He can go skilled. It's really, really exciting to think about what he can do. So I think bottom line is last year's team did their best to get through it. This team went through it. Keontae had 10 guys come out with him, or whatever the number was, in the summertime, and really bond. That stuff doesn't happen in the pros a lot. You'd think that's not that big a deal, but it just doesn't. In the pros, everybody goes their separate ways. And so to reach out, have people come, host them, and then spend the entire year. Like, he was an incredible teammate this year, and then it just becomes contagious. And you don't have to throw a slogan, out there to say our locker room is this or our locker room is that. You can see that. They got technical the other night because they had so many guys celebrating on a dual triple-double by Conchar and Mbang. So to me, you said it. I watch everything, and you can't get a lot of phony crap past me. I'm kind of the phony police. And there was zero phony. I think that locker room's galvanized and in this last 20, 30 games where people thought it was just throwaway after the trade. So many big things happened in that time. Like Kyle Filipowski really answered the bell. And he's a guy off the bench that's going to be a problem for teams, regardless of how many minutes he gets. But again, these guys all not playing, they could have sat there and did their time. But they're up cheering and hugging and slapping and engaging and, playing with the crowd. It just, there's a great feeling. So sorry for the long-winded answer, but I know you're Scotty and friends. And,
no.
I'm one of the friends, so I'm going to I'm going to spare you of some of that time.
Hey, the floor is yours, my friend. Whatever you want. It's all good.
No, but I guess at the end of the day, I think you have growth in the locker room. You have growth in the culture. I think guys understand the game better. When you look at Cody Williams, he had no idea how to play in the NBA last year, and his body was no help to him. But, man, you look – that guy set career highs in scoring and then broke them, rebounding and broke it, assists, broke it. Bryce went on a tear. So if you want options, then you look at personnel. They couldn't be set up better. Dude, if the Jazz are a stock, I'm buying stock because I also know who's coaching the team. And over the last number of years, the affinity that I've grown to have for him, I don't know him well. I met him once or twice, but damn, he gets the best out of his dudes, and he really does care about them. So, dude, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
So when you look at the growth of Ace Bailey, and I want to focus in on Ace a little bit here and get your thoughts, because Will Hardy talked about what Ace needs to improve on, and so here's Will Hardy. Here's Will Hardy talking about what Ace needs to work on going into the offseason.
Ace's body is first and foremost. With young players, the biggest gap you're trying to bridge early is the physical one. Ace is an incredible athlete. He's also young. I think for him to try to take this offseason and really dig into his body is very important. And then I think he and Keontae, it's going to be about your individual defense. We're going to have to take a huge step in that area before a collective group can take a step forward on the defensive side.
So Austin Ainge also talks about Ace Bailey and what he wants him to work at.
When we talk with Ace about the summer, it's the weight room. He's going to live in there, and he's excited about it. We talk to him a lot about strength, and anytime he can bump anyone and make a shot, he makes sure and tells me about it after the game and flexes and all that, so he knows. Defense is going to be a team-wide goal for us this summer, so every guy's been told that we're making a big leap next year defensively, so that'll be a focus for his. And then I think looking at our team, again, we have a lot to figure out still, but I would say ball handling will be the other thing that a lot of guys will need to improve on, and Ace also.
All right, so a couple of things there. I want to get back to the team here in a moment, but let's talk about Ace Bailey in particular. There's two things that were brought up by Will Hardy and Austin Ainge. Number one, strength, get in the locker room. The dude's 19. Like he should have been, he's just a biscuit toss away from his high school prom. And here he is playing NBA basketball at a high level against some grown-ass men. It's not easy for these guys to do. And so it's not a knock on Ace. It's just the overall growth and development of the human body to where he needs to be. And he spends time in the weight room, and he can get there, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, pull out pictures of yourself at 18 and 17. I mean, I look like a different human being.
Yeah.
I look like Gumby compared to what I look like now. And I think that'd be the case for most. So I've seen that, like Kessler came in, and that was the big thing for him. Year one to year two, the growth in his body was staggering. And then he was able to go out and rather than absorb the blows, and the hard part the first year is you don't know where the blows are coming from, bro.
Yeah.
You because you don't have the know-how. So you gain the know-how, and then you add the strength. And like Austin said, and dude, this front office, they are so good. Like Austin Ainge is brilliant. And he knows players, you know what I mean? And like he said right there, it's like, year one, you're kind of, and if you look at Ace, he's trying to find space all year. It's fadeaways, it's leaning. Even on his jumpers, he didn't trust that he had enough space, so it was kind of leaning always. You get 15 pounds. I mean, it's the difference between last year with Cody again, who gained a ton of know-how between last year and the summer, and then added, some bulk. Now, he's got to still go there, but I think Ace's frame is going to be scary when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Think about some of the guys that are built like him. If he just adds some, he doesn't need to get huge, but just lean and mean and deliver a blow, and it's going to be a game changer. I said this on the pre and post. I'll say it here. We saw the jump that Keontae had this year. Ace has got that level of jump in his game. With the for Keontae, the unlock was some of that was mental, and a lot of it was know-how. And in fairness, he was thrown into a tough situation having to be the point guard, which is a position he never played. So all that given, those were his hurdles, and Ace's will be. And it's crazy because I said the very same thing the other night. It's strength, it's defense, consistent defense, and I like he's in the right spots. It's not this is more of a understanding of where to be for him. It's not a willingness thing. And then and strength helps your defense, by the way. And 3 is ball handling, because he does need to get where he needs to get, and he's going to be playing in more space next year because of the guys around him. So mark my words, that dude's got as big a jump in him as Keontae's.
I thought Ben Anderson, he joined me for a segment yesterday. I thought he brought up a really good point. We all are loving the circus-like shot attempts that Ace Bailey can make an attempt out there. And he said, that's great, and that's awesome that he has that in his arsenal, but that's also maybe a byproduct of him not being strong enough to get to where he really wants to be or needs to be to finish at the rim and to make the shots that he wants to take. So while it's great that he's taking these shots and knocking down some really crazy shots, in reality, you hope he gets stronger so he doesn't have to rely on those.
Yeah, I heard a little drop on the zone. I listen.
I love it.
I've listened my whole life, When I drive around, that's what's on. But I heard a little drop from Bear, and he was talking about the other night's loss and how they got too much east-west. Hockey, like basketball, you got to get north-south, man. There's no use going one way or the other. You got to get going north and south. And when Ace can play on a direct line, and that's what Keontae really learned this year is play through contact. Look at Keontae's free throw numbers this year. They were astounding because he figured out how to play through contact. When Ace gets that and is not trying to fade and not get contact, but actually seek it out and finish through it, ooh, man, that's where you want to get.
So obviously the sky's the limit, but you heard a quote from Austin Ainge, and I want to end our chat with this because I thought this was really fascinating. He said, defense is going to be a team-wide goal for us this summer, so every guy's been told that we're making a big leap next year defensively. No discussion. So it's like, all right, it's all about the defense right now. And when you're seeing a team give up, 140, 150 points a game, yeah, defense is going to be absolutely critical for the development of this team. Do you feel like they can get there with the current roster available to them if everybody's healthy and they've got a full regime of players at the disposal of Will Hardy?
Yeah, defense can not only be improved, it can actually become a strength for this team. You've got one of the best young rim protectors in Kessler. His numbers, mirror Gobert's in terms of the shots that he dissuades just because he's in there. Then you've got Jay, who's former Defensive Player of the Year, and just crazy instincts to block from the weak side. And a big part of defense is rebounding, mind you. And so then you add, Lowry and you add Ace, and those guys are huge. So you've got size in the rebounding department. I just think that it could shape up with them. And now the perimeter guys, that's where defense is. Can you guard your yard? Can you keep a dude from going past you and not requiring help? Because at its core, basketball is if you get 2 on the ball, the offense is ahead. And now the ball is trying to beat the defense in their recovery. So if you don't have to get 2 on the ball ever, your defense is in the right spots, you can be solid. And so that's the end game then for those wing guys is you got to guard 2 feet to your left and 2 feet to your right. and if they can get better at that alone with the rim protection and rebounding, yeah, I think it can be a strength.
That 2 feet defense, is that a Rick Majerus thing, or is that a 1 foot defense?
You know where I actually got that was Heath Schroyer.
Oh yeah.
He'd cut it down and say, I mean, I can't say everything he said because he was just a walking. At that point, he was a walking everything.
Yes.
He would say whatever it had to be said. And then I don't know if like OSHA had to come in afterwards and like spray the arena down. Some crazy stuff was said.
By the way,
but it was more like guard 2 feet. Just guard them 2 feet left, 2 feet right.
Heath Schroyer, by the way, the number 2 man at LSU right now. How about that?
Yeah, the killer part of that is they wanted Will back and basically said, hey, I'll go back if you hire the best administrator I've ever had.
That was a package deal, and it could
that
not
was
be
a package deal.
It couldn't be happier for our guy Heath Schroyer, one of the best dudes. I got to know him a lot over the last summer, and man, just spending some time on the phone with him, you feel he's like your ultimate hype guy. He's the best, man. I love that guy.
Well, this is what I'll leave you with.
All right.
Heath is a guy, and you're a guy. I try to be a guy like this. When you find authentic people in this world, you hold on to them. You really do. Because there are so many people that are living one way and being another, and you find out, when it's tough, you find out who your people are. So at the bottom line is that's what Heath Schroyer. Heath Schroyer is a guy, and he hired the party hounds at McNeese State.
No way, really?
Yeah, he did. We played at McNeese State.
Nice.
So friends take care of friends.
He is one of the best dudes out there, man. Fired up for him. And you know what? I think you and I need to make a road trip down to Baton Rouge and hang out with him at LSU for a game this year.
Yeah, I think that I've never been there. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can get some time off work, and we'll swing that.
So you can leave another dream catcher, is what you're telling me?
I did leave Lloyd's. Yeah, that did happen.
So you could do that.
No, see, it's a work trip because I'm going to go pick it up.
Sniper.
Yeah, he is a sniper, isn't he? And he's a freaking elephant too. He never forgets anything. Yeah.
Oh, he sits there and waits, and then once it's there, it's
bam!
It's like a blow dart.
Yeah.
I set my guy up with a dream catcher to bring good vibes to his calls, and he leaves it like his first road trip.
It was like the second road trip.
Oh, it was not.
Tim, you're the best, man.
Guys,
we appreciate it. Yeah.
I love you guys, but you're crazy. Remember the trank dart?
Oh yeah. Hey,
crazy.
You're crazy, but I love you.
Hey, Tim, let's do it again soon, shall we?
You guys call me, and I'm here. You know that.
I like it. All right, there he is. The great Tim LaComb right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends. Nice. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, Lloyd, guess where I'm going to be tonight?
Where are you going to be?
Utah
tonight,
Mammoth
Scotty?
Hockey. Let's go.
Nice. Covering?
No, I will not be covering the game. I will be in the stands with my wife and my son and probably one of his buddies. I'm trying to get the older kid to get off work, but he's a hardworking man. So
As the older, has he been to a game yet?
The older, no, he's not. Brody's been to some. Brooks is not.
Well, because he's a working
Brooks
man.
is, and look, he's going
he
to.
He puts money ahead of everything, and I respect the hell out of that.
He's going to college. He's working. And by the way, if you ever go to El Matador and Brooks is your waiter, make sure to tip extra because we're paying for college. So
that would be nice. That would be helpful.
That would be nice. So
much appreciated.
Yes. If you go see Todd and Cammie at El Matador, best Mexican restaurant in the state of Utah, and you have this lovely, handsome young man named Brooks as your server, just be like, hey, I understand. The grind is real.
The grind is real. Yes, it is. So
let me ask you this. Speaking of my son, Brooks, you tell me if this is off base or not. This is completely out of left field. But
okay.
So somebody had in the past, and I tweeted about it, and this family came in to the restaurant and ordered all the, like a $120 meal, right? Specialty drinks, all this stuff. And $120 at El Matador, holy smokes, you are eating well. It was about 5 people. They all had really,
had themselves a good time.
Had themselves a great time. $120 goes a long, long way at El Matador. Trust me on this one. So they pack up and they're ready to leave. My son drops off the check, the little folio thing. Walks off. Family signs their thing and they're out the door. A tip of
he must have killed it. He must have absolutely killed it. A bill that size?
A tip of 25, not dollars, cents.
No.
A quarter. They left a quarter.
That is like that's.
So this was, by the way, this is 3 months ago, and so I brought it up on Twitter. I'm like, hey, look, if you can afford to go to a restaurant,
he must have.
You can afford.
Did he wrong him?
No.
He must have.
In fact, well, that's what I thought too. And I'm like,
what did you do?
Did you tick him off? He's like, no. And everybody usually talks highly of him.
Yeah.
So,
knowing your middle child, Brooks, he's
the most responsible dude.
Very responsible, yes. And that is a respectful young man right
now,
there.
Had it been Brody, I would have understood something could have happened.
Okay, what did you do? Don't lie to me.
Yes,
what
exactly.
What did you do?
You did something.
You did something.
You ate half of their chips and
Open
salsa.
up. Tell me.
Something happened. Correct.
Because I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
So fast forward last week, this same family comes in, and he was so upset.
I would assume as soon as they left and they saw that, their faces were ingrained into his mind.
Yes, he knew exactly who they were. They come in again last weekend, and he's like, "Oh, I don't." And he goes like, "I don't want these guys to sit. They stiffed me last time." And the hostess was like, "I'm really sorry." He's like, "No, it's fine. We'll do it." And so he goes out of his way, and he's like, "Hey, is everything good?" And they're like, "Oh, service is great. Okay, can I refill this drink? Can I get more chips and salsa?" Like he's killing them with kindness.
Beyond.
Killing them with kindness. They wrap up. He hands the folio to him, and he's like, "Hey, was everything good? Is there anything else I can do for you?" "No, it was great. Service was awesome. Food was great." Boom. Comes back. Family leaves. Opens up the folio.
Don't say it.
Not a quarter this time. 0 on the tip. No tip whatsoever.
Oh, come on.
No tip. Now, again, here's the thing. I understand we have this little tip issue with our society right now. I get it. Totally understand. Not okay. Like when you go to a fast food joint and
they ask you to tip before you've even gotten your food.
And they turn the little monitor around. They're they're going to ask you a question or two. And you're like, come on. Or, you stop and you grab a hot chocolate or a coffee at Starbucks, and they're like, hey, just a couple of questions for you. And you're like, come on, really? Really? This has been going on forever. This isn't new. Restaurants, sit-down restaurants, the dude makes like $2.50 an hour.
Yeah, this is different. This is different than a Starbucks or whatever, a little burger joint that's before you even get your food. This is a little bit different. You're sitting down. You're getting a service. You're getting, and it sounds like that he's absolutely killing it, and he wants to make sure just to see what it's going to be like again. Because he's probably thinking to himself, God, maybe I did.
I know.
Maybe I wasn't. So I'm going to go this time. I'm going to make sure, because I know who you guys are, so I'm going to make sure and kill it for you guys.
Yeah.
And ask you all along the way, everything good? Do you need anything else? Can I do anything else for you? You want some more chips? What do you want?
That's what he did.
To go 0.
0.
That family should be blackballed.
I do think
they should be.
I do think, and I don't want to go out on a limb here. I do think that they're not welcome at that restaurant anymore.
I hope so.
I think. I don't know. I don't want to speak. I know that one of the owners did actually go out in the parking lot and talk to the family, and they're like, "Oh, he was great. He was awesome." And then he's like, "Well, it's kind of customary to leave a tip," and they're like, "Well, we don't have to."
Oh, yeah, you kind of do. You kind of do.
You kind of do.
That's what good human beings do.
I mean, I don't know. Am I off base on that?
No, I think there is there's reason to be upset. No, I don't think you're off base. That you have to tip.
And
you have a well, it doesn't really matter who it is. Whoever's killing it for you, that's kind of how they make a little bit of their living, is doing that. And
100% how they make their living. Yeah.
Like, come on.
So again, I sent something out on Twitter when it happened a few months ago, and we have great listeners. They're like, "Send me his Venmo." And I'm like, no. And even he was like, "No, we don't need to do that." I'm just like, "No, we're good. No Venmo. He's good. He's very well taken care of. The restaurant treats him extremely well. That's why you need to go to El Matador. Great restaurant, great people, great owners, great food, more importantly. And but that was an interesting one for sure. That was a bizarre encounter.
Like, come on, if you're gonna go,
just take care.
Yeah, take care of them.
Take care of your
Even
waiters.
if you want to just do, I think you should do more than the 10%. But even if you want to do the 10 to 15%, you got to do something though.
If you have miserable service, like the worst,
yes,
that's 10%, right?
That's bare minimum.
Yeah. If you
then, I don't go below that. It's just like, okay,
honestly,
you're having a bad day.
I start like for bad service, I start at 20, and then I'll go up to 25, 26, 27%. That's just kind of how I go. But that's also because I'm related to people in that industry. So now, look, if you have a busser that's a redheaded, mouthy little SOB, then I understand because
I get to where you're coming from.
That's our youngest, and he can be a bit of a problem. My middle, not so much. All right. Public service announcement. I know that we wasted an entire segment on that. I just had to get it off my chest. Let's take care of our peeps here. Plus, he's paying for college.
Help him out.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
The way,
and I'm so with you, by the way, on all those things they're asking. Like before the food's even, it's like, no, don't put this pressure on me. Because then it's like I feel like I have to. Because it's like, what are you going to do to my food if I don't?
Oh, yeah. No. And
I don't like that.
Yeah. And by the way, for those of you out there that think that because I call Utah State games that I have this disdain for the University of Utah or BYU, hey, just keep in mind, I'm calling some BYU softball games, and my son and his money and our money is going to the University of Utah. So, look. We are an equal opportunity. My middle, who knows? I may have to send my son to Weber State just so we can go for the what do you call it? The Power Four. I don't know, but look, I got ties everywhere, so no hate.
Well, obviously Brooks is one of your smarter kids because he's going
to University.
Yeah, he's one of your smarter kids.
Look at you go. All right, what you may have missed coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Adventures don't always go as planned. One minute you're cruising in your RV, the next your tire hits a massive pothole. Progressive is ready for you when the unexpected hits with excellent claim service for your boat, RV, and motorcycle. Plus optional coverage like roadside assistance and on-the-water towing. Visit Progressive.com and make sure your next adventure is unforgettable for the right reasons. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage is subject to policy terms and limits.